Hello and welcome to Humzabaan, your go-to destination for learning Urdu. My name is Tanzeel Rahman, and we have been going through multiple lessons. We started with Urdu alphabet. We looked at the alphabet groupings. We also looked at the different shapes that the letters make when they're in the beginning, in the middle, and the end. We went through the special symbols, which we call as Arab, which when they're placed on a letter, change its sound. Today we are going to go, and with this, we are really equipped now to form words because we understand how the letter looks, we understand their sounds, we understand their shape, we understand the vowels, we understand how we place special characters or special symbols for special sounds. Today we are going to practice what we call try to form words. These words can be two letters, they could be three letters, they could be four letters, and they could also be five letters. Right? The idea is that we will use so far what we have learned to start forming words. Word in Urdu is called lafz, and words as a plural are called alfaz. All right, so we will start with simple two-letter words. And if you could see on the screen, we will, in here, for example, we have two letters. We have alif with, if you recollect, zer. Was a special symbol. This makes the sound E. And then we have connecting it with noon, which is a sound na. So alif, zer, noon together becomes in. Right? This is as simple as that. You know the letter, you know the special character that you're putting on it, or the symbol or Arab that you're putting on it. You know the sound of the other, and it becomes in. In the same way, for example, you are looking at another two-letter word. We have alif again. But in here, if you look at alif has got another, it has got, and if you recollect, this is called a pesh, which gives us oo sound. So we have got alif, pesh, oo, seen, and together it becomes us. One thing to notice here, while I think it's obvious that Urdu is always read and written from right to left. It is one of the few languages globally which are written from right to left, like Arabic and like Farsi. But most of the other languages like English or French, or they're written from left to right. So this is important that when we are reading or writing, we go from right to left, right? This is the direction that we should go. So this is important to understand. Now let's move further. You have maybe another word. So in this case, we have got, if you recollect, it is called be, which has got a pesh, so it becomes bu. And then it has got letter te. Be, pesh, bu, te together becomes but. Now, you would also understand, and from our lesson and for your further practice that you would have done on the Humzabaan app, you would know that be truncates in the beginning. So it is be truncated with a nokta below, so we understand this is be. And pesh on it makes it bu, and then we have ta, which is full, it becomes but, right? So if further we move on, this is very simple. Now we have two letters here. We have got, if you recollect, dal, which is sound d, and we have got re, which is sound ra. Now both of them do not have any Arab. Ideally, we could have made a zabar here. But as I said, we read it contextually. So even without this, I can call it dar because it's dal and re together, right? So many times we read in Urdu contextually, and it is not required that we put zabar always. Even if there's no zabar, I know by default it is da and ra together, so dar, right? So this is how you go through simple letter. Now similar words here. You have, khe, and you have toe. This is kha sound. This is ta sound. Together, it becomes khat. Again, I did not put an zabar here, but I interpreted that it is khat, right? So this is very, very simple. These two-letter words. You keep practicing on the app, or you keep reviewing, and you will understand how easy that you will find it, that it is. Important thing is that you understand that when you're reading, you're able to identify that this is kha. How do you identify? Because we know that khe truncates in the beginning, and it obviously is retaining its initial shape like this, and there is a nokta which is nothing but khe. So it has truncated version here. This is what we are using, and we identify it is khe, right? The same thing we can keep looking. We can go to some three-letter words now. Now that we have got some understanding of how the two-letter words work, we can now look at some three letters word. I'll start with very simple. So if you see in here, we have got kaf, and we have got alif, and we have got meme. We know the sound here is k, we know the sound here is a, and the sound here is m. So it becomes calm. And if you see here, the word is calm. Now, if you would realize that alif has in a way became here an a sound. And it kind of became a vowel. So we said kaf, alif, meme, kam. I did not have to put a zabar on this because by default I understand that if it's nothing, if uh, there, then it wouldn't have. Other point is that alif is followed by it, so is in any which way is an a sound. So these are some of the nuances that you would be able to understand if you keep practicing reading on the app, also referring to all the other elements of it. Now, if we go further, you will find this is another one which is called, if you identify the letters, we have dal, we have re, and jim. Simply dal, the, re, ra, jim, ja, darj. Now, in here, ideally, there could have been a zabar here, and there could have been a jazm here to say that there is no vowel. So it is not daraj. If there was a zabar here, it would have been daraj. But there is no zabar here. There is a hidden jazm. So we call it darj. And again, we read it contextually because once you keep practicing, you start going through the vocabulary, you understand that the only letter that we could get here, or the only word or loves that we got here, is darj, right? So in the same fashion, we can keep exploring. In this one, if you see, I could have this. This has got meme. If you see here on the screen, this has got meme, and we have got fe, and we have got te. On top of meme, I have put a pesh, which gives it the sound of mu. If I had not done it by any chance, then I would have by default read it as ma, and this could have become muft. But because I have put pesh here, it becomes mu, and it becomes muft. Again, contextually, even if I don't put pesh here, I know there is no word in Urdu called muft. So if there's no word in Urdu called muft, I can figure out it is muft, even if we are not defining it here. So eventually when we do, it's possible that we may not write, but still be able to figure out, right? So it's just about practicing, understanding, expanding your vocabulary. Now, in the same way, we go to the next one. Here, another three-letter word. You have a letter one called qalam. Now we have got qaf, lam, mim. Now it says qalam. Ideally, there could have been a zabar here, and it's a rest, so it could have been jazm. But there's no. We don't have to define by default. We consider it to be qalam, and we know the word is qalam exists, and through which we are able to read it. Moving on to the next one, we are now moving to a four-letter word, and you will see the same rules apply. There's no difference. Obviously, the complexity of the word could increase, but then you break it down. Now, if you see here, we have letter he, which is here. We have letter re, which gives the sound ra. We have letter kaf, which gives the sound ka. We have letter te, which gives the sound ta. So we have ha, ra, ka, ta, which basically becomes har, kat. Now, you would realize that there is a truncation for he because he changes its shape. So it becomes he. Now, it is connected with, you may confuse it sometimes with sad, but it's not swad because swad would have a slightly more this kind of a shape. But this is he. We can also write he like this without connecting. That's also a possibility. So we say he, re. Now, re will not connect with the subsequent letter. That's why it is not connecting with kaf. But kaf would connect with the subsequent letter, and te will retain its shape. Kaf in the beginning will get truncated. So that's how you get harkat. Now, this would require a bit of practicing, kind of unbundling it, bundling it, and you will realize that eventually you will reach this. So even if you're giving harakat, you would know the only way for me to figure out is he, re, kaf, and te. Assume that you read it sawad, for example, you read it swad, then maybe you can read it sarkat. But in reality, there's no word in Urdu called sarkat, and you will figure out that it is harkat. So it is, you can use deduction, you can learn by expanding your vocabulary and understanding the shapes, understanding how they truncate in the beginning and in the middle, right? So if we go further, we have another word here called kaf zer ki that you see here. Kaf, we have put zer here, so which makes it ki. We have got te, we have got alif, we have got be. Together, it becomes ka, e, ki, ta, b. So this becomes kitab. Now, it is possible that I wouldn't have made Zair here, and I could have still be able to read it as kitab, because possibly there could be other meanings like katab or kutab, but you don't have words representing katab and kutab in in Urdu. So there could be certain situations where you could have a conflict, but by and large, through the context, you're able to understand. In this case, it's very clear that this is kitab by kaf, zer, te, alif, and be. Again, important thing is to understand that this is kaf truncated. This is te, which is this section or shosha with two noktas on top makes it te, and then we have alif. The other two noktas on top could have been kaf. That also has two noktas on top. But as you know, when we have kaf, when it is in the middle, it becomes a loop like this. And here there is no loop. And hence you know that the only way that you recognize it is te. So you can say kitab, right? So that's how you start reading and practicing. In this case, this is also a four-letter word, but we can also call it a three-letter word. The reason being that pe and the chashmi together are form another letter. In Hindi, for example, we have a letter called pa. Now, in Urdu, we do not have a standalone letter called pa, but by combining pe and the chashmi, I can make it pa. And I put a vow, and I have an ulta pesh, which makes it oo. And then we have lam, so we have pa, ul, which means pool. This is not pahul because the chashmi is always read with the preceding letter. If it was, it would have been, say, for example, choti hai instead of do chashmi, then it could have become pahul, but it is pool, right? This is how you understand how it is written. Similarly, we have another one wherein we have the choti hai. So you have be, which is ba sound, choti hai, which is a her sound. You have alif and you have re. So it becomes bahar. Now, you would notice that in here, be truncates in the beginning. Hey, choti hey, as you recollect from the shapes lesson, has this special symbol below to describe that it is choti hey. And then you have alif, which is standalone, doesn't connect with the subsequent one, and you have re. So it becomes bahar. That's how you will start practicing and learning these letters. Now we are just moving on to 5 letters. The rules remain the same. Only thing is that word would look a slight bit more complex, but the rules would remain whatever we have discussed, which we have built. It applies the shape, it applies the symbol or arab or harkat, and based on that, you get the pronunciation. In this case, you have pe, you have re, which is ra, pa, ra, you have noon, which is na, pa, ra, na, then you have dal, which is paranada, and choti he, which is parinda. Now, ideally, I could have put a zabar here, I could have put a zair here, I could have put a jazm here, I could put a zabar here, and it would have given me the same thing. But even without that, I can figure it out and read it, but I can still put this and create the structure, right? That's how you will be able to read. In this case, for example, we have the similar one. We have seen. And let's reverse it. So, for example, we have this word that we are looking at, which is in the below. Now, this word, how do I figure? I know that this is the initial truncation for seen. This is lam because alif would have not connected with the subsequent letter. So the only way this one could be understood is as lam. And this is toy because it retains shape. And this is alif because it's not connecting with the subsequent one. It was, if it was lam, then it would have connected with the next one. So it is alif. And this is noon. Now together, sa, la, ta, an, which is, we can figure out the word would be sultan, but ideally we could also have put a pesh here. I could have put, and even if I had not put anything, a jazm or anything here, I could have figured out it is sultan because that's how the word is maintained. Now, this is how you would keep practicing and understanding how the words are formed, or you can read back a word, right? For example, in here, we have got, again, taking the same approach, we have got a word here where it's got two letters and there is some sort of a vowel-like letter. Now, this is basically a truncation of kaf, and we know that this is kaf. And then we have, if you recollect, a letter wherein we have two nuktas below. Now, the only place that you have that is a special truncated form of choti ye, and you get ka ya. And then you have alif, which is standalone, connected with the previous but not connected with the later. And then you have a special symbol, truncated version of meme. Again, if you go back to your shapes or shakl lesson, this is, you will be able to figure out. And in the end, they retains the shape. So this, so you get kaf, ye, alif, meme, te, which is qayamat. If I could wanted to put a zabar, I could have, but even without a zabar, I can read it, right? So if you recollect and understand, the reading words is, or to be able to write words, you need to understand what letters or kin huruf say, or which huruf or harf will together make this word. And then, depending on what symbol or arab or harkat we have put on top of this, I can interpret, read, or write that word. Important thing is to understand what are the letters which are forming the word and what symbols have to be put and what shape it is taking. So this can only be interpreted as qaf, and this can only be interpreted as ye, and this can only be interpreted as alif, and this can only be interpreted as meme, and this can only be interpreted as te, right? So that's how we get to this. And you can start now looking in more detail on the app, because on app you will have much more detail on these 2-letter words, 3-letter words, 4-letter words, 5-letter words. You can also, in the app, go and click on it and refer to the dictionary, built-in dictionary, which helps you understand the origin of the word, usage of the word, gender of the word, the form, whether it's a noun or a verb. It also helps you understand what are the other derivatives or the related words using our dictionary integrated app within Humzabaan. So you can again go back to quizzes and get much more learning with the app. Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you again.